Konami's newest core set, Chaos Origin, is slowly but surely becoming one of the best sets of 2026. Arguably, some people could say that it could potentially be one of the most meta-defining sets of 2026. But it's only going to get crazier from here because Konami has just announced 7 more new cards for Chaos Origin, and I'm going to be talking about all 7 of them in this video. Some of them include new spells, all new synchros, and everything else in between. So I am not going to waste any time. I am just going to get straight into it. So let's kick things off with Astrolasma Urania. Which, honestly, if I'm being honest, the artwork actually looks kind of cool. It kind of looks like something out of out of a weird anime. It's kind of cool. But it is a 7-star Light Thunder with 2400 attack, 1000 defense, and all 3 of its effects are once per turn. The first effect reads, you can special summon this card from your hand by returning up to 2 monsters you control to the hand. Second effect reads, if this card is special summoned, you can reveal any number of monsters in your hand with different levels, then target that many face-up cards your opponent controls, negate their effects. Third effect reads, if this card on the field is destroyed by a card effect and sent to the grave, you can add it to your hand. Okay, so here's the crazy thing about this card, right? You can run this in the Dangerous Thunder Dragon decks, where because that a lot of the Thunder Dragon monsters have different levels, you can bounce them back to your hand, and then just side draw this card out right off the bat, and you get to also on special summon reveal any number of monsters in your hand with different levels and negate your monster's effects equal to that many monsters that you revealed. Essentially, it becomes a forbidden droplet, but it doesn't come as a one for a million, because you're not sacrificing your cards. You're basically, all you're doing is just revealing your cards, and you're able to side those monsters out onto your board once you've once you've negated your opponent's monster's effects, which is insane. And with its third effect, it basically acts as a recycler. So I can honestly see Thunder Dragons making their way back into the format. I just don't know. I just don't know if it will fare well against the current meta, because right now the current meta, from what I've seen on social media, apparently the meta is not particularly good, but it's also not particularly bad either, because right now Radiant Typhoon is one of the best decks in the format. Dark Magician with the new support has become one of the best. Is slowly becoming one of the best decks in the format, and pretty much everything and anything yummy is the best deck in the format. So I don't know if Thunder Dragon could be a meta deck again, but I do believe that this card could definitely make the deck better, just not better enough. Next up, we have Glitch, Clutch, Null Gainer, and I had to say that slowly so I wouldn't mispronounce it have it be taken out of context. And if I'm being honest, that is some badass artwork. 8-star Dark Psychic Synchro with 0 attack, 2000 defense, and requires a tuner and 1 or more non-tuners. So pretty generic. Both of its effects are once per turn. The first effect reads: if this card is synchro summoned, you can add a level 8 or higher monster with 0 attack from your deck to your hand. Second effect reads: you can target a monster in your grave with 0 attack, special summon it, but its effects are negated and it cannot be used as material for a fusion, synchro, exceed, or link summon. Okay, so I don't think there are a lot of decks in the format that have 8-star monsters with 0 attack. I don't know if there are. I honestly don't, but I mean I don't think this card's gonna be any good, but it's still pretty cool. It's still pretty cool because, again, yes, it is a Stratos on summon, but but what are you gonna do, right? Like I don't think there are a lot of monsters or decks in the format that have 8-star monsters with 0 attack. I'm actually gonna go on to Master Duel, and I'll show it, and I'll show off, and I'll find out if there are, because I don't think there are. I could be wrong, but I don't think that there are. We'll go deck, pick a random one, go filter. Level 8. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so there are some. Okay, so there are some monsters with 0 attack. You can add Gandora G, the Dragon of Destruction. You can add you can add Duamitev, Blessing of Horus, Gachiri Ignister, Unchained Soul of Disaster, Gandora X, the Dragon of Demolition, Phenomenon, the King of Poisonous Snakes, Exod, Masters of Guard, which nobody ever plays that card. Swordsman of Revealing Light, Pfeiffer Meister. What else? The original Gandora, the Dragon of Destruction, Machina Cannon, Gimmick Puppet Jury Doll, Dodo Swordsman, Dragolitha, Kunzite, which I've never seen that card before, Galaxy Brave, Legendary Maju Garzette, Hermetic Seal of the Sun Dragon Overlord, Litmus Doom Swordsman, and Giga Ray's Gandora, the Dragon of Destruction. So those are just some of the cards that you can add to your hand. So my honest opinion, I think this card could potentially be used in the King Sark decks, and just decks in general that can use those monsters that I just mentioned. So it's not bad, but hardly anybody ever plays them, except for, I think, like Gandora, the new Gandora for the King Sark deck. That's like the only one, and the Blessing of Horus. Those are gonna be like the only two that you're gonna search. That's about it. that's about it. Like, it's not that good. Not that good in my opinion. Next up, we actually have, get this, a brand new field spell that is based on one of the seasons of every calendar year. And literally that's what it's called. What is it, you may ask? Well, summer. Just straight up, that's what it's called. That's what it's called, summer. And it is a field spell with 3 separate effects, and they're all once per turn. The first effect reads, once per turn you can place season counters on this card equal to the number of your opponent's unused main monster zones. Second effect, once per turn when your monster declares an attack, you can inflict 400 damage to your opponent for each season counter on this card and spring in your grave. Third effect reads, once per turn during your opponent's end phase, you can place a field spell that you can place a season counter on from your hand, deck, or face up on your field. And if you do, place this card's season counters on it, but neither the player can activate its effects this turn. Okay. So here's the funny thing, right? If you have 3 copies of Spring in your grave, and this card has at least, let's say, 8. Or you know what? No, we'll say that there's 10 season counters on this card. Now, not only can you deal 4,000 damage to your opponent off of the season counters, but you can also deal an additional 1,200 damage to your opponent, which potentially could be lethal. It's possible. But let's be real. Because that you would normally be going second with a card like this, your opponent's probably going to be using up all of their main monster zones, and so because of that, the card ends up not being good. However, there is a world where if you end up going first, you can put 5 counters on this card, and if you play a spell or a monster card that can add more and more counters to the field spell, you can do as such, and that would give you potentially the counters that you need to deal lethal. So, is it good? Yeah, it's an okay card. It's an okay card, but is it really good? I don't think so. My opinion, I don't think so. Next up, we have Ray Rage, the Twilight Fiend. I don't know why this is a fiend. It's a dragon. It's supposed to be a dragon, but yet they're calling it a fiend. I don't know why. Like, they're calling it a fiend, but yet it's a dragon. I don't know how the fuck that makes sense in any capacity. 3-star light dragon pendulum. Excuse me, with 1,000 attack, 1,500 defense. The pen scale is 1. The pen effect is a once per turn, and both of its monster effects are also once per turn. The pen effect reads, if a pendulum monster you control would be destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can destroy this card instead of one of those monsters. I mean, it's protection. Ooh, excuse me. It's built-in protection. It ultimately takes the bullet for your pendulum monsters that they may have on board. So if you're playing a deck like, let's say, Luna Lights, and you have and you have a Pendulum monster on board, you can protect that one Pendulum monster with this card, and your Luna Light Pendulum monster would be safe from battle, which is kind of crazy. The first monster effect reads: if this card is in your hand, you can target one Pendulum monster you control, place it on your Pendulum zone, but it cannot activate its Pendulum effects this turn. And if you do, special summon this card. Second effect, which is a quick effect, reads: you contribute this card, then target a card in your Pendulum zone. It cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects this turn. Again, another way to ultimately protect your board from being popped. And excuse me. And it's a way to essentially go full combo, especially if you're going second, because if you're going second and you open with this card, you can ultimately just, like, essentially you can just pop off. You can pop off with this card and protect your main combo piece from being popped by battle or card effects, which it's good. It's good, but there aren't a whole lot of Pendulum decks in the format that can abuse this card, considering the fact that decks like DDs, Luna Lights, Abyss Actor, they all have their own way of protecting the monsters from being destroyed by battle or by card effects anyway. So it's an okay card. Next up, we have Lane Restriction. Which, honestly, this is actually a really cool art. The art looks really cool. It is a continuous trap with two separate effects. The first one reads: when this card resolves, you can special summon one of your banished monsters to your rightmost main monster zone. Second effect reads: if your opponent normal or special summons a monster to their main monster zone, they must use the leftmost usable zones. Okay. Can I just say that this card might just be one of the most broken floodgates we have ever seen. That we've ever seen since cards like Crackdown and Summon Limit. Think about this, right? You're playing your opponent is playing meta. You're playing an anti-meta strategy. You activate this card on your opponent's standby phase. Excuse me. And when they attempt to summon, they have to summon on their leftmost monster zone. So in my case, because that the rightmost monster zone is where the graveyard is, I would have to summon from that. And because I'm facing my opponent, my opponent's leftmost would be in that exact same column. So the funny thing is that Mech Knights can literally abuse this card like it's nothing. They can abuse this card to the point of no return. Mech Knights could very well make their way back into the meta just because of this one card. And again, it's a floodgate. Name one other deck in the format that can use this card, because I don't think there is. Mech Knights can abuse it. I think Mekk-Knight Orcus. Because I know that Mekk-Knight Pure can use it. Mekk-Knight Orcus can use it. Um, Gar Mekk-Knight Guard Dragon. I think I think was the deck. There's a couple decks in the format that can abuse the card, but I'm definitely gonna be honest. It is going to be a very crazy floodgate that no one is gonna expect to be meta. No one is gonna expect it. Next up, we have Gray Layer, which is a 4-star light machine with 1200 attack, 1000 defense, and both of its effects are once per turn. The first effect reads: you contribute this card and reveal one machine monster in your hand. Add one machine monster from your deck to your hand with a different attribute than the revealed monster. Then, if it had 1200 or less attack, you can special summon a machine from your hand. Second effect: uh, if your opponent, or sorry, excuse me, if your monsters is destroyed by a card effect while this card is in your grave, you can banish this card, destroy one card on the field. So Cyber Dragon is a deck is a deck that can use this card because of the fact that it does use up it because of the fact that it uses up two different attributes, light and dark. There are other machine-based decks that have different attributes that they can go into. I think Morphtronic can abuse this card because of the fact that it uses up all six different attributes. And we saw when we got Power Tool Braver Dragon, which is basically the Power Tool Dragon retrain, if you will. When we got that release, I think in Dawn of Majesty, I want to say, it was either that or something else. There was someone out there in the world. I don't remember who it was, but someone made the Power Tool decks very very busted, and I think it topped. I think it topped the YCS, if I remember. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I probably am, but you guys can let me know in the comments. But this card can be really useful in that deck. It can be used in Cyber Dragon because it uses light and dark. With obviously with the Cyber Darks. So not bad, not bad. Definitely a card that I can definitely see power creeping its way to the meta, but it'll probably take some time. But that brings us, I believe, to the final card of today's video. The final card of today's video is Protective Stone Gardenscaping. Try saying that 5 times fast. It kind of looks like the Stonehenge, I think it's called, in Greece. It kind of looks like that in a way. It's kind of cool. Kind of cool. But it is a continuous trap with the second effect being a once per turn. The first effect reads: while you have 5 cards in your spell trap zone, any battle damage either player takes is halved. Also, once per turn, you can activate one continuous trap the turn it was set. Second effect reads: during the standby phase, you can reveal 5 continuous traps with different names in your deck. Your opponent randomly picks one for you to set and shuffle the rest back into the deck. It's literally another floodgate, but it's more suited for anti-meta strategies and also used in Paleo because of the fact that Paleo uses up a lot of traps. Excuse me. So I can honestly um see a deck filled with nothing but continuous traps become one of the most unique decks in the format. But again, this is another one of those floodgates where no matter how many continuous traps you run, this card is going to be nuts. So you're going to obviously run at least 8, 9, maybe 10 continuous traps, which is literally a quarter of your deck. You're going to run a quarter of your deck is going to be nothing but continuous traps, which can make this card very broken. Um, do I see this card becoming a very powerful card in the meta? It's very possible, but it's still too hard to find out because we are still weeks. I would say a little over a couple months away, I think, from the official OCG release of the set. So it's too soon to call, but I would say so. I would say so. But with that being said, that'll do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more card discussions in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, excuse me. And as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.